Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Thank you for being part of the program this week. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for everything that we do, past shows, videos, and a whole lot more. Well, Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Katie Dubow is an author, guest host on QVC, president of the Garden Media Group, and a longtime garden enthusiast. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joey and Holly. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join Holly and myself and all of our listeners across the country to enlighten us and give and share your knowledge with all of us.
Oh, you're welcome. And, you know, now that we're all on lockdown, it's a little less busy, I have to say, than other times.
Definitely. Now, why is gardening and green living so important to you? Where did that passion come from? And why does it continue to be a passion for you?
Oh, well, you know, here we are sitting in, I don't even know what week we're in, week 6 of this lockdown. And I'm a huge believer in garden therapy. I think that, you know, gardening brings us so much joy. It's such a meditative practice for me. It is my solace. I do it for peace of mind. I do it for beauty too. You know, I garden because I want my yard to look good. You know, the same reason why I'll put on a little bit of lipstick and care about what I wear. I really do care about what my yard looks like. But when it comes down to it, I have to say that gardening and green living, as you put it, are important to me because of the footprint that I leave here on this earth. And I know that you guys feel the same way. And even before I owned, you know, I've owned a house now for about 10 years, you know, a while. But even before that, I lived in New York City and I wrote a little blog about climate change. I got a certificate in environmental studies from Columbia University. And I'm passionate about doing the right thing. And passion is the right word. You ask about that. And I think it comes from my parents. I think that so many of us have passed down or inherited this love of nature from our parents. And whether it was an older person that you grew up with or someone that you watched garden from afar, I think that, you know, that's where it comes from for me. My dad is a biology teacher. And my mom, of course, started Garden Media Group, and so gardening's in my blood. But, you know, it really does have so many positive effects on the climate, and that's what it comes back to for me. When you garden, the plants add nutrients to the soil. Trees, you know, all the endless benefits of trees for providing the shade to, you know, carbon dioxide, you know, sucking the carbon dioxide from the air. And, of course, growing our own food. You know, that's definitely one of my favorite things to do outside. And I grow my own food. It reduces my food miles. But then that gets back to that garden therapy aspect. And I get to feed my family. So I don't know. I think right now, you know, there's really nothing more hopeful for gardening. And it just makes me so joyful to be able to do it.
Definitely. Now, home gardeners do have a positive impact on soil erosion and runoff. And why is that? And how can they have even more of a positive impact aside from what they're doing?
I'm telling you, Holly, I love this question because soil is not a sexy topic, right? It's not one of those things that people, when you go on and you see the garden shows and they're talking about flowers and they're talking about maybe food even, you know, and I'm passionate about soil. I could talk about soil all day. And one of Garden Media Group's, you know, one of the things that we're really known for and that we are really passionate about are garden trends. And in our trends report for 2020, which came out last fall, one of the trends was called endangered soil. And, you know, gardeners know about soil, but I think in the general population, it's not something that people are so educated on. But before the 20th century, you know, our soil was healthy and it was organically dense. Our food was rich in vitamins and minerals. But over, you know, the last 100 years, some erosion, deforestation, some other practices that can be bad to the soil have happened. And so now our soil is stripped of nutrients. And so gardeners make the positive impact by practicing this term. You know, we say it in our trends report called regenerative gardening, but really it's just gardening. You know, you're growing plants, you're putting nutrients back into the soil. And there are a couple ways that I think that positive impact, the ways that we can do that. And the first step that I really urge people to think about is, you know, whether you're planting broccoli or begonias, is garden organically, because our soil is a living organism. You know, some people think of it as dirt, and one of the funny things in our trends report, we say dirt is a 4-letter word to people, but really, you know, it's something that is living, and we need to feed that soil. I actually just started. Have you guys ever done sourdough bread?
We have not, but we're actually thinking about it as we get more into this isolation.
Right? Yeah, so I just got a starter, and it's just the same concept that you have to feed your sourdough starter to keep it alive. You have to feed your soil to keep it alive. So that's what gardeners are good at. Compost. It's one of the best things you can do for your soil. It's like creating a probiotic for your soil. Plus, you know, going back to that sustainability aspect, it reduces your household waste by almost 40%. Of course, I think if you're going to garden organically, you add organic fertilizers, you till with worms, use biochar. Those are all great ways that gardeners are having a positive impact on soil erosion, is we are putting those living organisms back in the soil. And, you know, believe it or not, they hold the soil together. They feed the soil, and that's how you have healthy soil that not only feeds your plants, but feeds the planet.
And that's the thing. You got to feed the soil for the plants to feed you. It's a living organism that is important. It's just not a one and done thing.
Exactly. It is a full circle thing.
Now, you host on QVC a number of times. Now, this may not be interesting to some people, but I love to figure out what goes on behind the scenes of productions and radio shows and TV shows. Whenever you give us a little behind the scenes insight, are the segments always live, or are they pre-recorded to make look live? What goes on?
I know. When I first started, and a lot of people didn't know that people sell plants on QVC. So the brand is called Cottage Farms, and it really is a lot of fun, because my mission is to grow more gardeners. Just like you guys, as a communicator, I want more people growing plants 365 days a year. So if one of the ways to do that is through QVC, I'm all for it. And yes, I told my dad, okay, I'm going to be on at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, oh, okay, what time do you tape that? Like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think I had to tell him like 3 or 4 times, yeah, I'll be on at 6 a.m. Oh, okay. What time do you have to be there? 6 a.m. So, you know, the interesting thing, I think that when I first started, I actually started out in television. When I graduated from college, I worked at CBS television. And so I was shocked 20 years later to come back into a studio, and it's all robotics. So there's actually no camera operators, no lighting operators. So the only people really who are in that studio are you and the host. And so it really is just like having a conversation with a friend. You know, the hosts are so good at their job. They are, you know, always bubbly, always energetic, and they always know the exact right thing to say. And that's what they say about QVC. You're supposed to act like you're in their home. You're a guest of theirs. So you follow their lead. But yeah, always live. And I've asked them, I said, you know, I've never had a blooper. Like, you know, I expect.
Don't say that.
I know, knock on wood, to go out with food in my teeth or say something. I did say something once about a clematis, a sapphire indigo clematis, which grows really low to the ground. It stays about 2 to 3 feet tall. So I said it works great for covering like the legs of a rose, you know, like the days you don't shave your legs. And one of the hosts, he looked at me, he goes, yep, you just said that. So he's really funny, but you know, it's like, can't take it back. It's live TV.
I'll be. Well, you are in the garden trend industry. You spoke a little bit about the trends that you saw in the fall. What are you seeing? What was the garden trends prior to the pandemic? And are you seeing those trends change in any way dramatically currently?
Yeah, so this is so interesting. We are actually right in the middle of working on our 2021 trends, which is our 20th Garden Trends report. And it usually comes out in July at a big garden industry trade show, which this year has been, you know, it's been canceled. It's going online. It's going virtual. So we're right in the middle of this. And I think what we did see before were a couple of things. The first is convenience. We certainly saw well, people wanting convenience. But the thing about it now is that brands are catering to people being at home for ultimate convenience. And what has really shifted, particularly in our industry, I'm sure where you guys are too, the local garden centers have had to either close or change their model completely.
Right.
And that is something that has taken, our local garden centers have not been as fast to change as other businesses. And so now they're doing curbside pickup or delivery. And these unique business models are something that we will only see evolve even more. And we'll see more partnerships, I think, in your local communities. I don't know about you guys, but in my town here, restaurants are partnering with the local bakery, even partnering with the local garden center so you can order some herbs, order your beer, order your cookies, and order dinner for the night. So it's this collaboration between all of the local businesses in the community for one delivery. And it's just how these businesses are banding together is definitely going to be a big trend.
And we've vocalized on social media, even if you don't need a plant or plants, go to your local independent garden center and buy something and just give it to somebody, because without our support, especially at this time, these garden centers won't be here next year.
Absolutely. And there's so many businesses like that. And another trend, certainly you guys have seen it, is the boom in houseplants. And, not just houseplants, but edible gardening. And so both of those things were trending before, but right now they're just going gangbusters. And it's, of course, because we have a little bit more time, but I think also because people are understanding the true benefits of gardening and of nature and of being around nature. You're stuck in your house. I mean, we're all thankful that we actually have a place to go outside, but can you imagine if you lived in an urban area where your only ability to go outside is where another 1,000 people are already standing and you're stuck in your little apartment? Or, so houseplants have really enabled people who are in their homes without really much of that access to nature to have that peace of mind, to have that moment of solace in plants. And same with edible gardening. I mean, the Victory Gardens 2.0 movement has I feel like I can't open up a newspaper or virtually open up a newspaper without seeing a new article about someone growing some new kind of food. And I love it. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen an influx of people asking questions about how to grow their own food, and just this trend. I'm sure you've seen it.
Absolutely, yes.
Very close to home.
Yeah, very much so. Well, we appreciate you taking time with us, Katie. How can people find out more about you?
Well, Garden Media Group is the name of our business, gardenmediagroup.com. We're the same name on Facebook and Instagram. And Katie Garden Girl is my personal Facebook page where I post a lot about QVC and, share some information, like you guys try to do, introduce people to other people in our industry.
Well, Katie, thank you very much for taking time to be with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners today.
Thank you. Happy gardening.
Absolutely.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.